Hollywood's greatest, most meticulously crafted illusion isn't projected onto a massive silver screen. It is the staggering reality that movie theaters actually despise movies. They are parasitic hosts, and the multi-million-dollar blockbuster film is nothing but a shiny, flashing lure designed to drag you blindly into their trap. You probably think AMC, Regal, and Cinemark are in the entertainment business. You think they sell art, you think they sell stories, magic, or cinematic escapism. You are wrong. Dead wrong. Strip away the velvet ropes, the neon marquees, and the red carpets, and what you are left with is a ruthless commercial real estate empire masquerading as a cultural institution. They do not care about the plot of the latest Marvel movie. They do not care about the director's vision. To the men in suits running the multiplex, a film is simply a logistical mechanism to hold you captive in the dark for exactly 2 hours and 15 minutes. The movie is the bait. You are the prey. What they are actually selling you is salt, sugar, and chemically engineered fat. They are operating glorified, hyper-inflated concession stands, and you are willingly walking into the slaughterhouse. Let's be honest for a second. When was the last time you walked into a dimly lit multiplex lobby, got hit by that overwhelming, intoxicating aroma of artificial butter, and suddenly found yourself handing over a $20 bill for a cardboard bucket of popped corn and a bucket-sized cup of sugar water? We have all fallen for the trap. Drop a comment down below with the most outrageous amount of money you have ever spent at a theater concession stand. Let's see who got bled the hardest. And while you are down there, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. It feeds the algorithm. It keeps the financial truths coming. Now pull up a chair. Let's follow the money. To understand the brutal economics of the cinema industry, you have to look at the ticket booth. The ticket booth is a financial black hole. When you slide your credit card across the counter to pay $15 for a movie ticket, you assume that money goes to the theater. It doesn't. The theater is essentially renting out screen space to the Hollywood studios, the Disneys, the Warners, the Universals. And the studios operate like a cartel. Through a heavily guarded financial arrangement known as a sliding scale, the studios take the lion's share of the ticket revenue during the opening weeks of a film. We are talking about extortionate rates. For a highly anticipated opening weekend, a studio like Disney will demand up to 70%, sometimes even 75% of every single ticket sold. The theater keeps pennies, crumbs, pocket change. If you buy a $15 ticket on opening night, the theater might clear $4. Now, subtract the massive sunk costs required to keep a multiplex running. The sheer square footage of a modern theater is a real estate nightmare. You are air conditioning 50,000 square feet of empty space. You are paying exorbitant commercial property taxes. You have maintenance, usher salaries, projector electricity, and licensing fees. If a theater relied solely on box office revenue to survive, they would all be bankrupt by next Tuesday. The ticket sales are a loss leader. Just like a casino will give you a free hotel room to get you onto the gambling floor, the theater uses the movie to get you past the front doors. The real casino floor is the concession stand. This is where the bloodletting begins. Let's talk about popcorn. It is a weed. It is one of the cheapest, most heavily subsidized agricultural products on the face of the earth. A raw kernel of popcorn costs fractions of a cent. A massive bulk bag of popcorn kernels costs the theater almost nothing. But when they heat it up, toss it in a yellow, butter-flavored chemical powder called flavicol, and dump it into a branded paper bucket, a financial miracle happens. The profit margin on a large popcorn is roughly 1,200%. 1,200%. That is not a typo. That is a markup that would make a pharmaceutical cartel blush. You are paying $10 for something that cost the theater maybe 80 cents. And 70 cents of that cost is just the cardboard bucket holding the corn. The soda is even worse. The Coca-Cola or Pepsi syrup comes in massive plastic bladders. When mixed with heavily filtered tap water and carbonation, the liquid cost of a large soda is essentially zero. The plastic cup and the straw cost more than the beverage itself. We are looking at a product with a 90% gross margin. This is why the teenager behind the counter will always ask if you want to upsize for just $1 more. That extra dollar is pure, unadulterated, 100% profit. The liquid costs them fractions of a penny. The extra dollar goes straight to the bottom line, keeping the neon lights on and the massive real estate lease paid. But getting you to part with that $20 requires psychological warfare. The theater lobby is not designed by accident. It is meticulously engineered using the exact same spatial and sensory manipulation tactics deployed by Las Vegas casinos. Notice the layout the next time you walk in. The concession stand is never off to the side. It is dead center. It is an unavoidable monolith. You are forced to walk past it, smell it, and look at it before you can reach your auditorium. Then comes the olfactory manipulation. The smell of popcorn in a movie theater is not just a byproduct of cooking, it is a weaponized scent. Many theaters intentionally vent the exhaust from the popcorn poppers directly into the main lobby, and sometimes even out onto the street. That specific smell, driven by the chemical diacetyl in the artificial butter, triggers immediate nostalgic and salivary responses in the human brain. It bypasses your logical prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that knows you just ate dinner 30 minutes ago, and directly targets your reptilian brain. You smell it, you crave it, you buy it. And look at the pricing board above the counter. This is a masterclass in decoy pricing. The small popcorn is $7, the medium is $8. The large, which comes with a free refill you will never actually finish, is $9. Your brain looks at this and thinks the small is a ripoff. Why pay $7 for a tiny bag when you can get a massive bucket for just $2 more? You think you are beating the system. You think you are getting a deal. You are not. You are never going to spend $9. The theater engineered the pricing strictly to make the $9 option look like a mathematical victory for you, when in reality, they just tricked you into buying their highest margin item. The house always wins. Let's shatter a massive illusion right here. There is a pervasive myth in our culture that a massive billion-dollar blockbuster opening weekend is a golden ticket that saves movie theaters. When a new Avengers or Star Wars movie shatters box office records, the media paints a picture of theater owners swimming in vaults of cash. This is mathematically false. In many cases, massive blockbusters actually damage the bottom line of smaller theaters. Why? Because the Hollywood cartels wield absolute dictatorial power. When Disney releases a guaranteed hit, they don't just ask nicely for screen time. They dictate ruthless terms. They will force a theater to play their movie in their largest, most premium auditoriums for a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks, regardless of whether the seats are actually filled after the first weekend. They demand a 65 to 70% cut of the ticket sales. This means the theater is legally contractually forced to tie up their most valuable real estate for a month, handing almost all the ticket revenue back to the studio. Meanwhile, they are forced to bump smaller, independent, or mid-budget films that often have a much fairer 50-50 ticket split out of the building entirely. The theater becomes a hostage to the blockbuster. If they refuse Disney's terms, Disney threatens to withhold all future films. The theater complies. They bleed cash on the actual screening and pray desperately that the crowds buy enough M and Ms and nachos to cover the staggering overhead. So who is really paying for all of this? Who is the actual victim bleeding out on the sticky soda-stained carpets of the multiplex? The dark truth is that this entire economic machine is fueled by an escapism tax levied directly against the working and middle class. The theater industry preys on parental guilt and the human desperation for cheap, accessible luxury. For a family of 4, a Friday night at the movies is no longer a casual outing. It is a major financial deployment. Tickets, large popcorns to avoid arguments, sodas, and candy can easily push the bill over $100. But parents pay it. They pay it because it is easier than fighting. They pay it because, for 2 hours, the lights go down, the deafening Dolby Atmos sound system drowns out the stress of inflation, mortgage rates, and daily anxieties, and they can just exist in the dark. The theaters know this. They are monetizing exhaustion. They are monetizing your inability to say no to your kids when they are staring at a brightly lit display of Sour Patch Kids. It is an emotional extortion racket wrapped in a cinematic bow. Yet, this predatory machine has a fatal weakness. It has a vulnerability so massive it threatens to collapse the entire house of cards. The enemy of the cinema is not piracy. It is not bad writing in Hollywood. The ultimate enemy of the movie theater is the couch. For 100 years, theaters had a monopoly on the viewing window. If you wanted to see the new Batman movie, you had to play their game. You had to drive there, find parking, sit through 30 minutes of car commercials, and pay their ransom for a Pepsi. You had no choice. But the digital streaming revolution broke the monopoly. The theatrical window, the time a movie stays exclusive to theaters before hitting home video, used to be 6 months. Then it was 90 days. Now, it is often 45 days, or sometimes concurrent with streaming releases. Suddenly, the consumer has leverage. Why pay $100 to be financially abused by a concession stand when you can wait exactly 1 month and watch the exact same film on a 70-inch 4K television in your living room? The cost of home theater technology plummeted right as the cost of the theatrical experience skyrocketed. Theaters tried to counter this by upgrading to massive leather recliner seats, offering full bars and serving hot meals, but all they did was increase their own sunk costs. They took out massive amounts of high-interest debt to renovate their buildings, betting that luxury would save them. Instead, it just made them highly leveraged real estate companies staring down the barrel of changing consumer habits and shrinking attention spans. The paradigm shifted, the monopoly shattered. The multiplex is a masterclass in behavioral economics and supply chain exploitation. They lure you in with multi-million-dollar art they did not create, hold you captive in a meticulously designed labyrinth, and extract your wealth through the aggressive markup of cheap agricultural byproducts. The movie is just the flash of the cards. The concession stand is the dealer taking your chips. The house always gets its cut, even when the screen goes dark. Next time, we are going to look at the hyper-predatory pricing models of theme parks and how a giant mouse engineered the perfect queue.